This is the captain. We have a little problem with our entry sequence, so we may experience some slight turbulence and then explode.
There is no spoon?
Why a spoon?
Because it's dull, you twit. It'll hurt more.
Welcome to the party, pal!
You can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Hello and welcome to Somebody Told Me to Watch This, a movie podcast for those in fear of credibility. If this is your first time with us, welcome. If you're returning, I'd like to say thank you. But as always, if you learned anything from us, it was purely accidental. And for you new to this, I am doing a lot of hand gestures. I'm Mike D. I'll be your host for today, and I brought along just two of the people I hate. She makes the best herb cocktails, Jenny D.
Hello.
And the man who has a door in your closet, Rick D.
But you have to move that dresser to get to me.
And today we're going to go over a movie that has a stigma of being one of the best horror films of all times, Rosemary's Baby. Does it affect us the same way it seems to affect everybody who made a list? Well, let's start off with the easy part. Overall feeling of the film? For me, I liked it. I don't understand the stigma, really, of why it's so high up there. Alright. And that's it for that, and we're done. Take it.
No, I thought you were talking and then...
No, basically with it, I felt nervous throughout the entire movie, but I never really felt scared or horrified. It just made me very uneasy. Other than that, I couldn't see why this movie was so, groundbreaking and so, the apple of so many people's eyes.
Do you want to hear my thoughts on this movie?
Well, that's why you're here.
I hated this movie.
Really?
I hated it when I was 16 and I first watched it, and I hated it today. First of all, it's from the 1960s.
Yeah.
So immediately I'm going to hate it because, there's something about 1960s movies where everything is just too loud at some points, where they're just and they scream and it's ear piercing. The way people talk, it's like they're talking at a high schooler would be at a play talking to the audience, and Mia Farrow's voice is just nails on chalkboard to me. I can't stand it. It's like I watch Bond movies, like Sean Connery Bond movies from the 1960s, and I love the Bond movies, but I still hate it at the same time because I'm just it's so... I hate this movie. I guess I'm going to be devil's advocate today. Because,
literally and figuratively?
Probably.
I
polished up my upside down cross today. So.
I don't know that I would say that I hated it, but I was definitely underwhelmed by the whole thing. I don't really, like you said, Mike, I don't really see why it was such a great horror movie. I definitely felt the suspense there for a while, but it just didn't feel like a horror movie to me.
Well, what's your idea of a horror movie? What needs to be there in order for a horror movie to be a horror movie?
Well, I don't know. I guess maybe because, this is a movie from the 60s, and at the time, that's what a horror movie was. Suspenseful, psychological thriller kind of thing, Satan, the devil, and, that kind of stuff, I guess, freaks you out if that's what you know of as a horror movie. But we have Saw, they slash each other's legs off.
I don't even consider Saw a horror movie. It's more it's a suspense thriller.
I don't know,
and I don't think this is a horror movie. I think it's more of a suspense thriller.
I agree with that.
What's horror is like House on Haunted Hill, not the new one, the old one.
Yes.
With Vincent Price.
Yeah, with Vincent Price. All that is a horror movie because it shows horror. This does not show anything. It's more of just, it builds up to this part, and you're like, okay, what happened? I'm still confused about what happened.
I guess for me, it would have been more of a horror movie if there was a lot more open-endedness. Like if you walked away going from, like...
I think it was pretty open-ended, though, at the end.
I'm sorry. Maybe I meant to say a lot less open-ended. No, open-ended. Like, not open out there, you knew what happened. I'm talking about, like, you walk away from it, like the Lordy movie that we did a few weeks ago, where you walked away from it and you went, so what happened? Like, was this a dream? Like, if you'd have walked away from it and been confused. But I kind of thought that it was pretty straightforward. Like, all right, that's what happened. This was a real thing.
But I was confused for a different reason. I was more confused about what the hell. Like, honestly, this movie is so disjointed for me, where I actually, before I came here, I rewound the movie, and then I went from minute to minute, and each minute was a different scene. And it just kept jumping to different things, and I was just like, a minute has gone by, and you're not in the same scene. That boggles my mind, and it just annoys me, because too much is just going on.
What amazes me is you were watching it on VHS.
No, I wasn't. I was watching it on the computer.
You said rewound, and I was like, all right then.
You can rewind on the computer.
All right.
I was kind. I rewinded. Rewound, whatever. But yeah, like, it was too confusing, and like, just at the end, like, I got the movie, I got, like, going through it, but it was just so, it pissed me off. Like, most of the movie, I'm just sitting there like, oh, God, just go, just
hurry up.
This is 2 hours.
Two and a half. 2 hours and about 20 minutes.
I was not expecting it to be so long.
And I could cut out an hour of that movie, and you would never know. You would never know I cut out an hour of that movie.
It was very slow paced.
Yeah, but I didn't feel like any of the scenes were, like, not neat. You could do without them, but I felt they added a little bit of the unease. The suspense, that's what got me. I was always on edge with the movie, expecting that big payoff. Expecting something to go out, shock me, and then relieve that stress.
Yeah.
I didn't get that, and I kind of liked that I never got it, because I was always like, what's good? They're going to find out. She's going to find out. She's finally going to leave. And none of that, it never pays off. And it's definitely deliberate. And this movie makes me hate old people more than I already do.
Have you seen The Visit? That'll make you hate old people.
I guess for me, I compared it to movies that did scare me, and this one just didn't, like, do that. Like, one of the movies that really freaked me out was Pan's Labyrinth. Gave me nightmares for weeks.
And it wasn't even a horror movie.
And I would definitely think of that as more of a horror movie than Rosemary's
Well,
Baby.
because it has imagery,
sure.
imagery and visuals can make a horror movie.
Definitely, and yeah. But Rosemary's Baby, I don't know that it had that.
Well, I think it was trying to play up the fact that you didn't see anything. That's the scary part. You're letting your mind put whatever you think is there. Like, we didn't get to see the baby, which I think is the right choice.
You got to see this. You got to see his eyes and, like, part of his face, and that's
like, that's the devil, but not the...
Yeah, it was kind of like a flashback.
I know. What I'm guessing
it was a flashback.
Yeah.
Oh, because I thought that's...
To the
what
weird
did you
dream.
do it to his eye? What did you do to his eyes? And I thought that's what they were showing was what the eyes looked like.
No, that was just a flashback of when she was when she was being mounted by Satan.
Yeah, apparently.
And, like, he has hooves for legs?
Yeah, but they didn't show that either.
Yeah.
His hands
you just
and feet
had
and
to,
stuff like that were all messed up.
Yeah, she was like, oh, just wait till you see his feet or something like that, the one lady said. Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm thinking of this horrible monstrosity, and I'm like, sure, if they showed it to me, that would become a lot less. So I applaud them on that. This movie would not be made today.
No.
Not even close to the way it's made now. I saw there was a remake when I was looking up this film to watch, but I don't know how close that is to
I think
this.
it was 2014 it was
Yeah,
remade?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard nothing of it.
No, me either.
They, you know what? I'm going to do something that we don't normally do. I'm going to actually look this up. Because I saw it because that's when I talked...
Yeah, you were like, is it the new one or the old one?
Is it the new one or the old one? Because I was confused. Because I was like, I remember watching the old one and not liking it. But I'll rewatch it again. Just maybe it was because I was too young. Like, I was 16 when I watched it the first time, and maybe I just didn't get it. And then I realized today, no, I do get it. I just didn't like it. I think
I could definitely see the taste comes into this. Like, you'll either love or hate this movie. I am divided. I liked it, but I don't think I need to watch it again.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm the same way. Like, I really did enjoy it, like, while I was watching it, and I liked it, but, yeah, I don't know that I was, like, in love with this movie.
Yeah, it was 2014, and it was Patrick Adams as Guy and Zoe Saldana as Rosemary.
Zoe Saldana. I'm trying to picture what else she's been in. Get a face.
She was in
New Girl,
Avatar, Guardians of the Galaxy. She is.
Oh, really?
What's her?
The
face?
green one. Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
I heard nothing of this movie, probably for good reason.
Yeah, it's probably just the same as the Omen movie because that one did absolutely terrible.
This one, probably a lot of... They probably added jump scares, they probably added a reveal, they probably shortened it to an hour and a half. Like, a lot of the...
Yeah, it's... See, the thing is, we as a generation now are an instant gratification generation, so we need that, or else we're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Well, there's some movies that don't give you that, that were made recently. The Babadook doesn't do it. You see the Babadook, but you don't really ever understand if it was in her head or not, except for the end scene.
Yeah.
Where
the Witch was kind of the same way. That
I didn't
movie
see
that came
that.
out.
I wanted that to see
Yeah,
that.
that was.
it is.
I enjoyed that one.
The
But
Witch is...
that was kind of another one, like, not... Like, people
Yeah.
might have gone expecting it to be something different than it was.
Definitely. We had a group of people
Yeah, we did
there.
have a group of people in
God,
our...
they were annoying.
Yeah, theater that was like that. That at the end was like, that's it? And they
Yeah,
almost
they-
expected it to be, you know...
Yeah, they were bored. You could hear them bored. They were talking. They were running up and down the aisles. And it was like... The Witch was out for a while. They just re-released it. It's in this small theater, and then we had this group who we definitely thought snuck in to see
Yeah, it definitely
And
seemed that way.
they were not the target audience for this because it was subtle. It was very slow, and there was really, God, yeah, that was that would probably be like on the same level as Rosemary Baby, but it had a payoff in the end. Kind of.
True, yeah. This
Like, you
movie-
got to see whether, was this really this, and you got to see portions of it.
Yeah. I was almost expecting a lot more of that imagery, like, actually seeing it and not hearing it, like, secondhand, because I think that's maybe with, you know, with this movie, what made it not so scary for me is you didn't get to see any of it. It was all, like, her going, like, reading it in books and getting freaked out because she was reading about it in the books, you know? She, Hutch
I think that
gave her that book, and it had all this stuff in it. She never saw any of that happen.
Well, did you have any idea how this movie was before you watched it?
I had heard the, like, basic general plot. Like, I knew how it ended, I guess. And
So did you think they were aiming for it when it was coming out, that you're not supposed to know whether they're really part of the devil's cult or
And
not?
Maybe that's
But
what
we had this-
spoiled it for
yeah.
me, is that I knew already going into it
That everybody was.
was in this cult or whatever, and maybe that's why.
But they did spoil it quite early on with that dream when they're all standing around her and
Yeah.
they showed faces of everybody there.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think maybe if we hadn't had it spoiled, we maybe would have thought that it was, like, just a dream, and it was her, like, paranoia, and that she really was drunk, and, you know,
Honestly,
that kind of stuff.
If it turned out that it was just all in her head, I might have liked it a little bit more. But it was kind of just like... It was almost a reverse cop-out where, like, you were expecting it to be it, but they were trying to make you not think that way, and then it turned out that it was in the end, and you're just like, oh. So what you were alluding to is really actually what it was, and the entire middle of the movie is you trying to pull us away from that ending.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and that's also a kind of thing where I'm just like, really? Why not just start out, this isn't it, and then at the end try to spoil it for it? Instead and like, you knew that those old people were fucking crazy the moment you saw them. Just by the fact that when that person was dead on the floor, this person they were taking care of, they showed no emotion whatsoever. Just like, oh, whatever. No, but she was so happy. And they walked away, and I'm like, they're they're evil.
Yeah.
You know it. And
Well-
if something's gonna happen, they're gonna do it. Like,
Yeah, with the girl that jumped, she was there just because they were trying to get her to have the kid.
Right.
And then once the new girl showed up, they're like, out with the old,
Yeah.
in with the new.
Well, I think what happened was that girl really did jump.
Really?
And really did kill herself. Yeah, and
I thought
I didn't think that in the movie, but then when I went back and was reading more about when I was watching the movie, I didn't think that. I thought they killed her. But when I was reading some of the stuff like on IMDb or whatever, I was able to see the quote that somebody had said while Mia Farrow's character was having that dream. Rosemary, when she was having that dream, they said something, or not when she, I think it was when...
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
Just hop to the end.
I can't remember when it happened. It might have been when she was asleep.
Okay.
And it wasn't during the,
Okay, what is it? What did they say?
They said, you shouldn't have told her. They said, she overheard them saying that. You shouldn't have told her. And in other words, they told her from the beginning. They told that Terry girl, you're going to be the mother of Satan's baby. And thus, she jumped. I think when it happened,
sense.
remember when she was having that dream about the Catholic school?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
imagery was all weird.
Yeah, that was an actual dream.
Yeah.
But she had overheard them saying about, well, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have told them. You shouldn't have told her that.
Okay,
And
so that's...
I didn't understand, I couldn't hear what she was overhearing. But, yeah, apparently that's what they said.
Huh. So that's why the voices didn't match the nuns.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, she was, dreaming.
She was bringing in... Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that.
But that wasn't the, drug dream. That wasn't
Yeah,
that
that was
part.
the before one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a different dream that she had.
I think you've said dream 30
Well,
times.
I'm sorry, but I'm trying to, get it to,
We-
unmixed up in my head.
Did anyone else notice that?
That she looked like Gwyneth Paltrow? Yes.
Yes. That the voices were off a lot in this movie.
I didn't... We
I don't
didn't...
think I noticed
It
that.
seemed
no.
No.
you know how we were talking
Only
about
in
with
that
Killer,
dream did I notice that.
We were talking with Killer Clowns, how they spoke and it didn't match up with the...
Yeah, because they had to dub it later and they ADR'd it basically
Yeah,
later.
I think there was a lot, and that also bothered me because I'm sitting there I look at that kind of stuff where I'm looking
Yeah.
at their the way they're talking, and I'm just like, oh no, this is
No,
It's not
honestly,
matching up.
A little
I
bit.
only noticed it in those dream sequences. I didn't really
I
notice
noticed
it
it
any
a
other
lot
And that
with
was
time.
Mia
purpose.
Farrow.
Yeah.
I noticed a lot with Mia Farrow's
Yeah?
talking.
Huh.
It didn't match up with what she was saying, or it was off slightly.
No, I think I might have been really into what was going... Not into it, because sometimes I felt really bored with the movie.
I'm so bored.
Especially towards the end, I'm like, after she had the baby, I was like, there's more?
No, I was not expecting there to be more. I kind of thought
And there
once
was
the
still
baby was
20
born,
minutes left.
Yeah, I kind of thought once the baby that was born, the movie was over, And
And the 20 minutes was her walking with a knife into the house,
Yeah.
looking at everything. That took so long. I'm like, it's not suspenseful.
Well, it's supposed to be a reveal because they let go in the beginning. They took all their pictures down when we came over, and then you finally get to see all
so
the
you get
pictures.
to see the pictures,
And they were just people dying and burning. And
Yeah.
It's basically hell in the pictures.
Well, the church burning.
yeah.
One of them. I think that's actually a painting in a museum somewhere.
I think they all are. There was, for some reason, we had scenes in one of the dreams of the 16th Chapel, and I was like, this is... I didn't... Sorry. 16th.
No, not the 16th.
I know.
The Sistine Chapel, yeah.
The Sistine Chapel.
Well, did you I take it, Rick, you didn't really like Mia Farrow? I didn't know it was her. I was like, wow, this girl is really cute. And I had no idea.
It's not that I don't like Mia Farrow. I just don't like her character. I don't like this movie. So it was... To me, she was really annoying in this movie. She was...
Was it the voice or just the...
Just the way she was acting, and portrayed and stuff like that. I didn't...
Do you think that was I was looking at certain portions of it. I was like, is that because of the time the movie was made?
I'm sure it was.
Because, her being daunted and, him just berating her, and she's like, oh, all right. And I was just like, That, like, nowadays you don't see that, but in the 60s, that was kind of how it was supposed to, not, like, how it was, like, he's like, well, you were drunk, you were on the bed, so I took advantage of you, and I'm like, okay, that wouldn't fly today.
No. But we're married, and that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, and Guy had all the cuts on his back, so she was fighting back, quote unquote, and it still went with it. It's like
she also had
she had the scratches,
and he did as well.
Oh, he had some
did
too.
Yeah, they both did, but it's I don't know, like to me it never really went anywhere for me. Like I watched it and I was bored. And I was watching it. Like I watched it intently. I wasn't just like dozing off.
Yeah.
Like, screw this. I was watching.
You gave it a chance.
I did. I will legit give any movie a chance. I gave Twilight a chance, and
maybe there's some things you shouldn't.
I should not, but it's always like one of those things where like everyone talks about this movie. I need to see what's so great about this movie, and then you realize there's nothing great about this movie. People are stupid.
But you saw it 116 before it could be so hyped up so much.
It was, even back then, people talked about it. It's just like The Exorcist. Yeah. When it came out, people were freaking out about it. Yeah. So you sit there and like, I've had talks with like many people about what the greatest horror movie is, and they say immediately Exorcist, and I'm like, why? What makes it so scary? I watched it and I started cracking up.
I did find that scary. I would have a different list, and that's a thing maybe we should do another time, like our top 10 favorite horror movies, and just do a round table. But when it comes to this one, I can't bring myself to find it scary. I can't bring myself to. I can understand. I find it suspenseful as hell.
Suspenseful, yes, but not a horror movie. And like I can go back and be like, Exorcist is scary because visuals and the way they show things, and it's freaky, and I can get it. I don't find it to be the scariest movie, but I can understand why people classify it as a horror movie. This one, I don't know why they classify it as a horror movie.
I think it's just
maybe just because Satan? Is that it? Just because they say Satan, it's supposed to be like terrifying? Because it's not.
Could be.
It's goofy. The way that they were like, "Hail Satan, hail Daniel!" And I'm just like,
I totally agree. That end part
so
really kind of cheapened the movie.
It was so goofy, and
I giggled because I just it was really amusing.
Maybe if they left that out and just her staring at the crib soothing the baby would have been better than screaming.
Yeah.
And not to mention the fact that like there's nothing funnier than seeing an old person say "Hail Satan." To me. It's one of the funniest things.
Was a really old. They went with a very old. Like that's something I don't think would happen today. Like those would not be 70-year-olds playing these parts. If you did it today, it would be 40-year-olds that looked quite good, and they would be socialites and not like this decrepit old people that are just like.
You're not afraid of old people. I'm not afraid of old people.
This made me unsettled by old people.
Unsettled is fine, but I'm never afraid of an old person because I can always just be like, I can run and you have legs that aren't working. I'm good. I'm never afraid of I'm never afraid of Satan. I'm never like Satan and
just the word Satan. It's been so cheapened by everything we associate it with.
And even now. Like, you see these Satanist people that are doing goofy things. Like they're just like pranksters now. And I'm just like, what is going on? I don't understand what changed. Now you're just like, instead of just being like, we are Antichrist and we're just goofy people trying to just be like, everyone needs to love each other. We can preach that too. And it's just like...
It's kind of like what you were saying. Well, how could... if you're believing in Satan, you have to believe in God, right? It's kind of like what you were saying when we were watching the movie. Mm-hmm. I kind of got the impression that they did believe in God, did believe in Satan, and they preferred Satan over God. So I would put them more of in a theistic Satanist kind of category. Maybe an actual Satan worshiper.
The theistic Satanisms are the ones where you're just like, all right, you can... go away from me, I'm good.
Do your thing.
Well, except for Guy. Guy was on board at the bat. I was like, damn, Guy. 2 days into it, he's like, sign me up.
Yeah, but I kind of thought that was more of him progressing his career and not really appreciating the whole Satan end of things.
But he believed, he was like, all right, they had to convince him to steal the other actor's tie.
Right.
So he obviously believed in something,
No,
and he did that rather quick.
I'm not
Because
saying
that was
didn't
like day
believe.
2.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying he didn't believe, but he wholly recognized, like, this is why we're doing this. We're doing this so that...
he's doing this.
Well, okay, this is why I'm doing this, so that I can progress my career. Not because I love Satan.
Right.
But
I think
because
he was in it
I
more
want
for
to...
himself.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He was in it more for himself.
The greater good.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. He didn't have any interest in screwing over God or, anything like that.
Except for literally his wife.
Well, okay. Yes. But not God. Like, he wasn't going against God.
But there's subtle things that they put in with Guy that I loved when I saw them. Like, when Rosemary finally feels the baby kick, and she goes up to Guy and is like, feel. And he just, like, looks disgusted and doesn't want to touch it at all and immediately walks off. And I'm like, I love that touch. But there's a couple other ones. Every time they talk about the baby, he doesn't want to talk about it. He's just... Even when she goes to the doctor, he's never there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like he's totally separated. He knows whatever's going on. He wants nothing to do with it. He got what he wanted out of it. The rest... That makes him the worst character. Well, we know he's the worst. And she kind of does, and it's insinuated, but... Yeah, it, like, makes him worse than any of the Satanists. Or the cultist. Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, like, again, it's so poorly done. Like, every part of this movie for me
there was
so...
like the subtle stuff like I just talked about with the cringing.
Yeah, I didn't think it was poorly done. I mean, I liked that subtle thing.
I'm just saying, like, this movie, I guess, I don't know if I'm part of that instant gratification group, but, like, the fact that it took so long to do anything, to me, that makes it a poorly done movie, just in my opinion, just because you didn't need 2.5 hours to...
But you could argue that nothing ever got done. Like, she had the baby and everything, but, like, there was that small climax that lasted about 10 minutes when she was running from them, and I think that's the point of the film, that you don't get to see anything, and that it's so undertone that it's like I left feeling a little uneasy because I didn't get anything to relieve that tension. I was like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, and nothing to relieve. I didn't see the oh god and then expel all that. It kind of stuck with me for a little bit.
Now all I can think about is the end of the movie with the, oh God, why do you keep saying God? God is not here.
Well, and it also was bookended with that nice La 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 song, which I was just like, that... And was that Rosemary?
Yes.
Or Minnie Driver?
It was
Mia
Farrow, yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like they didn't try to punch up her voice or anything, so it was off key sometimes, which added to it, and I was like, oh.
Well, I'm sure it's because... Like,
she's
staring at this Satan.
This goat.
And yeah, like, you never get to see the baby.
How the heck did they afford the apartment? Like the little stuff.
Yeah.
It was no big deal, but I'm just like, she doesn't work and he's a struggling actor.
That's why.
That's a nice studio apartment.
He wasn't a struggling actor. Because
when they moved the Yamaha commercials?
Well, yeah, I mean, he had all his commercials, but when they, like, once he landed that big gig, like that one with the blind guy couldn't do it anymore, like, once he landed that big gig, like, they were calling him for jobs, and, she even said when she was talking to Hutch, she said, oh, now he's so successful, we hardly even spend time together anymore, and so, turned out he wasn't struggling once they moved in.
Yeah. Well, that's because of the whole
and
Satan
once
thing.
they, made a deal with the devil, literally.
Any reason for her haircut? I did not see...
No.
I was looking at the haircut, I was like, why is this in the movie?
Fast. Like,
yeah. It was just no attention.
I was very confused by that, too. It didn't seem like it had any sort of, like, significance or any, like,
felt like it was external,
reason,
like, for a personal reason she had to cut her hair or something. Like, the actress, not not the movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
I mean,
was just-
I know they towards the end of the movie, like towards the end of filming the movie, Mia Farrow and her husband split up. I mean, I don't know if that played any role in that, but they wouldn't have been shooting in sequence.
Wait, Mia Farrow's the one who married Roman Polanski, right? No? I'm thinking, who was that? He was married to some actor.
She was married to Frank Sinatra was related to.
Oh.
Mia Farrow. I think the lady married to Polanski was Shane or something like that. Shayna or something.
Yeah. But in this movie, there's one thing I was very surprised about. Like, today and most movies you would see...
She was married to Frank Sinatra for
Oh.
years.
So she was actually married to Frank Sinatra himself.
What year was this movie made?
67? 66, one of those two. Because it came out in 68, I think.
Okay, so from 1966 to 1968, she was married to Frank Sinatra.
So right when this movie was being released. But
So maybe even the tail end of like filming it. But that still doesn't really explain her haircut. I mean, they wouldn't have been shooting anything in sequence.
It seemed very weird. I feel real bad if it was a personal choice, and then all the dialogue in the movie is like, "You look stupid."
Yeah. It didn't really. I don't know. Maybe there was a deleted scene or something.
Maybe because it just felt like really out of place with the whole movie. I'm like, "What is this? Why is her haircut?" It was no deal breaker, but it was just odd.
Yeah.
But going back to what I was saying a couple seconds ago, like this movie did not do what most horror movies do, show you the perspective of the killer, or in this case, the cultist. We were with Rosemary the entire
time.
movie, which is something you never see anymore.
No.
Like every scene she's in, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't think of a single movie that does that.
It's a very old way of filming things, though.
But it's nice because you also feel like more in touch with the main character, or at least I feel like, because in like action movies and everything, when you see the traitor, we see the traitor, the good guy doesn't see the traitor, and we know that this one guy's a traitor, and it's supposed to be building up the suspense, but I'm like, no, he's a traitor. There's no surprise coming for me. Like, but if it's the traitor and I see him and realize the same time as the hero, then I like that better because I'm like, I'm discovering it with the hero. I don't know anything he doesn't know. He's my avatar in this. And I have the same clues as him, and it's almost like...
You discover everything at the same time. Mm-hmm.
And I like that a lot better than seeing, like, the witches brewing the potions and, like... We're as paranoid as her because we only see what she's seen, so we can't be like they're crazy. We know they're crazy because we were
psychological thriller part of this. Yeah,
I mean, I knew that.
And
I knew the two old people. I saw from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, but that style made me kind of distrust anybody that she came in contact to. Like anybody she came in contact to, I was like, don't talk to him.
But isn't that the gloriness of the film doing a good job? Because even when you didn't know, like the guy outside when she's running away, she's in a phone booth and she sees someone there. He turns around and says, like, wants the phone booth. We're supposed to think it's the doctor.
Yeah,
but
I definitely thought it was the doctor.
But even when he turned around, I was like, it's not the doctor. But is that another cultist?
Yeah.
Like everybody she talked, I was like, is her other doctor a cultist?
Yeah.
I was like, who's a cultist? I'm as paranoid as her because I think the secretary with the red hair I thought was a cultist. But turns out she wasn't because she gave the doctor away.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good in putting that sense of paranoia into the viewer.
And like all the patients, I was like a Satanist. I'm like that milk driver, Satanist. That taxi driver, the elevator guy. He was a cultist, wasn't he? Or he was just in the dream.
But he was in the dream that she had, like the drug dream.
Yeah.
Well, he was at the end. He was when she floored it to the 7th floor. Like, he was in the elevator and she knocked him.
Yeah, he was the elevator guy, so it would be expected.
Yeah, but we
don't know if he's a Satanist.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably. I mean, he's in the building.
I don't remember seeing him in that ending scene.
It seems like anyone... Well... no, I won't go there.
Why not?
I mean, it's the 1960s.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay.
And they are what seems to be like hoity-toity Satanists.
Yeah.
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 But they let the Asian with the camera in.
Because he takes pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another kind of... Now that I think about that, that's kind of stereotyping, isn't it?
Yeah. It's really bad. Like, I don't like when movies do that at all.
Yeah.
I mean...
Like, you look at Breakfast at Tiffany's and you're like, oh, wow.
No,
That has a new context now.
Yeah, that's not even... I mean, that's not the first time that Mickey Rooney has done something like that either. I mean, he's...
But he is a caricature in that movie.
And it's terrible.
Yeah, now...
I am uncomfortable watching that.
Now we are, but back then everybody thought it was funny as hell.
Oh, yeah.
But it's all about timing.
Yeah, it's all about time period.
Yeah. But now you're a little like, couldn't you have just got an Asian actor to just maybe spice it up a little bit? And then it would have been tolerable, and now you're just like, no, it's some white guy with...
Well, it's just like, anybody being,
But you can't really hold it to the film, though, because that's, at that time...
I mean, you can still say that they're terrible people.
Yes, but you shouldn't just ignore it and be like, no, you should...
But I would classify him as part of the group because, it seemed like everybody in that building was in on it.
Yeah, that's definitely what it seemed like to me. If they lived in that building, they were part of that
everybody
society,
else,
so to speak. Because that was all their neighbors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like all those little old ladies and stuff. Like that was all their neighbors.
Yeah. But she did eventually call her friends, who... That was the only time I felt like...
She tried so
relieved
hard, I know.
When she called... Like, she had that party with all the people she knew. And, like, I felt relieved, because she was relieved that the old people weren't there for once.
Yeah.
It was like, oh... Okay, which was another good thing about the movie, I thought. There was a dinner scene in it, and they were talking, like, really quick. I'm trying to remember. It was the first dinner scene. And the old people were getting in, like, I've been here, I've been there, I've been all over the place, and it was just giving a little bit of background on what they were, but now I can't remember what the heck that scene.
Yeah.
Well, that was the first time they met them.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, oh, come to dinner, right after Terry died. The chick that they...
Took a swan dive off
That
the
was...
6th
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah, the chick that was living with them. And, that was when, like, I'm assuming that was when Roman, like, convinced Guy, or maybe he must have done that at a different time.
He had to, when he went back up there.
By himself.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I think it started, he definitely planted the seed there because they were
it
talking,
could've
but you
been.
couldn't hear what they were talking about
Right.
when they were doing
Yeah.
dishes.
But that's
Yeah.
when the lady found out that they were intending to have kids. And that's kind of like what set the whole plan, kind of in motion.
But it all
Good
hinges...
replacement there for the lady who jumped off the bridge.
Yeah, it all hinges
Balcony.
on Guy's acceptance of it so quick, which I felt was like, I guess he was supposed to be desperate, but how they bought that apartment in Manhattan, I was just like, it's not really, it doesn't seem that desperate that he would believe into that all of a sudden.
Well, I don't think they were desperate at first, but when the part was given to that other guy,
Right.
like, then he kind of became desperate because that was going to be a big break for him to get in, to some bit bigger stuff than the commercials.
Well, the other thing is, when they're probably having... Again, we can't hear what they were talking about. He was probably talking about, like, oh, I've done this, I've done that. And the guy's like, oh, that's really super interesting. And then when he went back up, he was like, and he talked about it more. How do you get time to do all this? Well, and let me tell you about my Lord and Savior, Satan. And then he's probably like, wow, this is amazing. I want to do this.
But it's not like...
You got a gullible person, it doesn't matter. If somebody is impressionable, you could say whatever and they'll just go with it. So I got a feeling that Guy is extremely impressionable.
Like, but he tries to act like an alpha male in the whole movie, but
he's not.
Yeah, he's really not. He's insecure. He's
what they call a beta.
He's a fighting fish?
He is what he wants to be an alpha, but he doesn't have the cojones to actually be an alpha because he's too insecure of himself.
Huh. And then he died. But no, no one ever gets her comeuppance in the movie either.
No.
No.
There's no satisfaction.
It just ends.
Yeah, it's just her looking into
20 minutes later.
Yeah.
I thought, actually, when I first saw this movie, I thought she was going to go over, coddle the baby, and jump off the building with it.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah, like
Like,
grab it and take it.
Yeah, take it or throw it out the window or something.
That's what they would do now, probably. I wonder if they have that in the new one.
Like strolling baby carriage, push it off a bridge. Like,
Yeah, or take the... I thought she was going to have that knife, look at the baby, and you think she's not going to do it, and then she does it, and then
I
they all
honestly
scream
thought
no.
she was going to kill herself with the knife. That, once she saw the baby and what it really looked like, that she was going to, just end it.
Yeah, you wanted... We've all been trained to expect these things, and the movie denies us these, and I think that works in its favor.
In fact, I also thought she was going to kill herself before she even had the baby. Like, when her plans to run away were foiled, she got in the elevator and was going up. Like, I thought she was going to keep going up. And she didn't. She stopped on that floor. I was like, why? Why go back there?
You were cheering
He
for her
has
to
a
jump?
key. I was like, he has a key. He's your husband. He has a key to the apartment.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
But it turns out that all that, and the old lady knew. The old lady moved the dresser at the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
Is that what
the
we're
one
supposed
that
to
died?
believe? Yeah.
Yes.
So she knew there was a way
She
in
knew
from the
that
other
there
side.
was a way in from the other side, and she also was in a coma and died the same way that Hutch did. The guy that her old landlord.
Yeah.
Like, that's the same way he died. He got into a coma mysteriously and died.
I like Hutch. Too bad
yeah.
he wasn't in it very often.
But they must have known that the old lady was wise to what was going on and, figured out their secret.
No, I thought she was part of it because she did have that herb garden.
Oh, well, could have been.
herb
Maybe she
garden.
Maybe she cut herself off from them and didn't want anything to do with them anymore, and they killed her.
Could be. All this speculation.
But she definitely died the same way that Hutch did. She was in a coma for weeks and then...
Just passed.
Yep.
certain herbs can do that to you.
11 of them. In a chicken meal, if you will. Potato wedges on the side. Colonel Sanders, indeed.
Extra crispy.
In hell! Licked by the fire of Satan. That's why it's so delicious. Oh, God. And who would wear a charm around their neck that smells like cat piss? Or what did they were like, it smelled like cat poop.
I don't remember what they said it smelled like.
Yeah, was there any, like, I know that, like, what was that charm there for? Anything other than to reveal the doctor at the end?
I think it was what they wore. Like, everybody who was initiated or whatever. Like, if they were part of the group, you wore that charm.
Yeah, but, like, her, why, what was the point of giving it to her? Like,
I don't even remember what it was supposed to do.
Excuse me. Yeah, I was wondering if it was like
good luck.
Good luck for baby making. Like, was it a Satan thing?
Oh, so it was a fertility.
Yeah,
charm.
something along like that. But why would the doctor have it? It's just like I was wondering what the symbolism was for that necklace.
If you're interested with what Google has to say about it.
All right, Google me all night.
Which actually probably is a viable explanation because we didn't discuss it yet, but this was actually a book made into a movie.
Oh.
So this Google says that it is simply a clever plot device used by author Ira Levin to demonstrate the power of the devil worshipper. So to demonstrate like which ones, just be able to identify, I guess, which ones are working with them or not.
So instead of the mark, I guess she was like, yeah, she did. We never got the payoff of that either, where she was like, you've been marked, and she was saying that to Guy, like, you have to have some type of tattoo or something to symbolize you're part of the cult, and she asks him to take off his shirt, which he does. There's nothing there. But that's the end of it. I thought there would be something more to that.
Not really marked. She's the one who's marked. He's only part of it because of her.
But I mean, like, what was the reason behind, like, giving us all those marks and everything and then no one having them and this necklace in the place? But I didn't even see any of the other Satanists with that. With the necklace and that ball.
I think that's just something that they might have overlooked.
It was just a plot device in the end.
Yeah.
Well, at least in the movie. The book might have more details.
Maybe, but
it.
this says to demonstrate the power of the devil worshippers. Maybe they could, maybe they were controlling her or something, like controlling her thoughts or whatever. There was like some sort of control they had over her with this Tannis root.
Different. I didn't pick up on that at all.
I don't know, but I was kind of thinking that, you remember when Hutch said it's an anagram? I thought he was referring to the Tannis root, not the name of the guy
Tannis
in the book.
Is an anagram for Satan.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but it was actually the name of the witch that they were talking about.
Which was the
throughout
old
the
guy.
story. Yeah, and that
Which
he
you
was
found
really
out
the
by
old
pierced
guy.
ears. And I was like, he has pierced ears. Monster.
Gypsy.
What was I going to say?
Well, he said more than that, though. He said he has pierced ears and a piercing gaze, he said.
Yeah. Well, that's what Hutch said. It reversed.
That's what Hutch said, yeah.
He dropped it down and reversed it. You looking for your branding?
Yes.
Remember the book that she found, it was called All of Them Witches?
Yeah.
Well, it explains about the Tannis root, but it calls it a devil's pepper.
Yeah.
Right. And it just says that it's used in rituals and worn on charms. So that was, like, the book then explained it to her.
Huh. It was a little... But, yeah, it still had a reason for being there, so I can't call it out as being like, that's completely unneeded. But, yeah, that was probably my mistake for not picking up on it.
Well, and, she probably wasn't supposed to come right out and say it. It's like to add to the allure of the, the psychological part of it. That, it was just supposed to be hinted at, I guess.
All right. For the normal list, I think we're finished on the overall portion of this. So we're going to go into our normal 2 questions. What would you change to make the film better for you? I know a lot of people who like Rosemary's Baby and say the best would call a blasphemer for changing anything, but this is only opinion.
Blaspheming what, though?
Blaspheming the change of what they
Blaspheming
consider.
has to have a god to be blasphemed to.
Well,
Oh no! I've been parried.
maybe if you're holding Rosemary's Baby as the, god of horror movies.
Which it isn't.
I don't really think so.
It's not even number 1 on any chart.
Yeah, but it's always in like IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, even like just random sites. Always have it in the top 10. Always. With Exorcist 1 or 2. But, so, let's go into this. What would you change to make the movie more enjoyable for you, Jennifer? I think you and I are going to be the same. I really wouldn't change anything.
To be honest, really neither would I. I mean, I don't know. The only thing I can think of really would be to add in more of the, like...
You wanted more of the movie.
No, not more, not more lengthwise, but like more as far as, when she was first suspecting it, like, things that she ended up happening upon that she wasn't supposed to see, to like really drive home the whole devil worshiper kind of thing, that the devil worshippers were next door, and, she, seeing things like things that would creep her out,
You wanted
There
more of a
wasn't-
visual.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of visual to like
Representation
confirm
of the
devil worshippers. Like they didn't have anything in their house. Like their house was normal. There wasn't like, Well, I mean, I guess the whole point was they took it all down. But
Yeah.
I just thought it might be nice to happen upon it. By accident, or
Well, you do get that payoff in the end, but I can see what you're saying.
in the end. But I mean, more leading up to it.
Mr. Richard?
Change its subcategory
To suspense?
to suspense
Thriller?
rather than horror. Again, because, like, I go into a horror movie to be scared. I wasn't scared. I didn't even see any horror aspects whatsoever in this movie. It was suspense. That's what it is. If you put it as a suspense thriller, it would make it more enjoyable because I wouldn't go into the movie just going like, when am I going to be scared? What's scary about this movie? And that would probably put it from a 4 to a 4.5.
Ah. Not a big fan.
No. I disagree with a lot of movies on top 10 lists.
Well, everything's subjective. So.
Everything is subjective.
Definitely.
But, like, you can classify Aliens as a horror movie.
True.
It's a sci-fi, and it's mostly sci-fi, but you can call it sci-fi horror.
sci-fi action horror.
Yeah,
In
because
space.
because there is scenes that will make you go, oh god, like, and it's like oh, there's something horrible on the screen, horrible. like when something pops out of his chest, that's scary.
Yeah, that's
when
Alien, not Aliens.
Yeah, that's what I mean, Alien.
Okay.
Just the whole like the seer Alien.
Yeah, I thought Alien was a very good horror movie. I would definitely classify that as a horror movie.
And but this,
Aliens,
there
not
was
so much.
nothing in this movie that made me scared at all.
Did it make you at least uneasy or
Uncomfortable is again suspense thriller. There's nothing that makes me go like oh god, like that's horror. And I think you can honestly lay that on the table and nobody can disagree with you with that.
I wouldn't disagree with you, no. Honestly,
Because like suspense is something that you would feel in this movie, where it's like your heart starts beating, and you're just like, what's gonna happen? And you get that tension, and you're just like, and you're waiting for that like sweet release of something happening, and it never does. And some people like that. Some people are just like, the fuck,
go away.
It's like almost giving you like suspense blue balls, so to speak.
But in the end, I wouldn't change anything. I think it works as it is perfectly fine. I can definitely see why it's up there on high lists. My personal one, it wouldn't be on that high of a list. Like if I had and this movie is one and done for me. I think it's very well made. I think every part of it's well contrived, well shot, all of it, but I don't need to see it again.
No. I think we all can skip that other question of, would you watch this a week later and put down your cell phone? I'm probably never going to watch this movie again.
I might buy the book, though.
I probably won't watch the movie again. I've gotten everything I can get from it.
Yeah.
And for what it gave me, I enjoyed it.
You're allowed to enjoy things.
Well, we've definitely disagreed. Like, disagreeing with someone on what they like and what you like, there is nothing wrong with that.
Well, it's also a moot point. Like, because am I suddenly going to say something and you're going to be like, oh, you're right.
That's how the internet thinks.
The internet is great. We love you guys. Never mind.
Well, sometimes you can do it by like looking at something in a different light, and it might shine it in a way that you really like it. You're like, oh, something clicks and does it, but it's very rare.
But we're also arguing opinions. Opinions is different.
A very fickle thing.
Yeah, because you're saying like, I like it this way. I like it this way. I like poached eggs. I like an omelet. Like it's the same thing, but you just like different things. And that's fine. That's what we're here for, right?
Yes, that's why there's more than one of us talking.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Jennifer?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Well, this has been a devil of a good time, gentlemen and ladies.
Ladies.
Just one.
What is there two in there that we don't?
Well, there's one hanging in the closet.
Right. Forgot about her. How are you, Margaret?
Not well, evidently.
Hanging in there.
No. All right. I gotta run. We all have to separate after that one. If you want to hit us up with a request, please email at us at STMtWT at STMtPodcast. God, I messed that all up.
Yes, you did.
If you want to email us with a request, find us at STMtWTpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at /STMtWTpodcast. And hit us up on Facebook at /STMtWT. Come on, people. I need some suggestions.
And don't forget, we haven't told you yet, but don't forget, next month may be Kurt Russell month.
Yes.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Now I'm putting that at the end, you know
But
that.
yeah.